Hello and welcome to a bonus edition of Cracking the Cryptic today. A big day for the channel because we've just released Chess Sudoku. Chess Sudoku is now out on Steam, it's out on the App Store, and it should be out any moment on Android as well. So do check that out if you've enjoyed our other apps, or even if you haven't, because we're quite proud of it. We put a lot of effort into them, and we really do think if you enjoy the content of the channel, you will definitely enjoy the apps as well. And anyone who has bought the app and has enjoyed it, can I just make a quick appeal as well? If you wouldn't mind just giving it some stars and maybe some nice words, it does seem to make a difference to how the app is promoted, and we would really appreciate that. Now, earlier today, I released a video covering one of the puzzle types featured in the app, which was a King's Move Sudoku. And Mark and I had sort of designed an introductory puzzle. It wasn't terribly difficult, just to showcase the form so you guys could see the sorts of things that would be going on. But I realized that another type of puzzles featured in the app is a Knight's Move Sudoku. And I didn't have one ready for today to sort of showcase how that works. But a hero came to my rescue. Jonas Gleim, the brilliant constructor from Germany, serendipitously published this puzzle today on Logic Masters Germany. And I've got in touch with Jonas. I've said, look, would you mind if I used your puzzle just to show an example of a Knight's Move puzzle today? And Jonas has agreed. And this is an absolute treat for us, because I just want to take a moment to admire this puzzle before we even start to solve it. This is a work of Sudoku art. If we look down the right hand side, we've got the digits in order. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then Jonas has completed a perfect diamond shape and apparently created a Knight's Move Sudoku that is uniquely solvable. Now this is absolutely stunning Sudoku craft. It really is, and I'm really looking forward to trying this. So let's have a reminder of how Knight's Move Sudoku works. If you haven't looked at this before, you'll need to know this. So let's look at this 7. Now, if this 7 was a chess knight, it would be able to jump to a few squares in the grid. It could go there, 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 there. So it could go to those 8 squares. Now this means that none of these yellow squares could contain a 7. And that's because they are a knight's move away from this 7 in the grid. Now this is the extra constraint we need to work with in Knight's Move Sudoku. And as I've said, this is half the puzzles in the app at the moment are Knight's Move, half are King's Move. We also have Queen's Move Sudoku coming very soon. If you want to know what that is, look at the video earlier on today. I've been busy solving Queen's Move puzzles, and they are a bit of a head scratcher, I have to tell you. Right, but with that, let's have a look at this. Let's get cracking. How would we solve this Knight's Move Sudoku? Right, this 4 immediately makes use of the Knight's Move constraint. Look, none of those squares can be a 4. These 2 also can't be a 4 because they're a Knight's Move away from that one. So we get a 4. That puts a 4 in one of those 2 squares. And actually this 7 works the same way, look. It rules out those squares, so we get a 7 in the bottom of the grid, and 7's over on this side. So there's a certain symmetry going on between the 4s and the 7s. I guess this is one of the reasons this might be a diamond, actually, because this is a... Yeah, look at the 3 and the 7 here. This is beautiful constructing. So this 7 rules out those 3, those 2, we can place a 7. This 3 works the same way, we can place the 3. So immediate use is made of these sort of corner squares. So let's just check we can't get... Yeah, this 9 is going to give us a digit here. The 4, obviously, we've already got a 4 in the box. This 9 is going to give us a digit there. Now we need to be careful because ordinarily we wouldn't be able to pencil mark because only one of these 3 squares could be a 9, but because this 9 rules out the central one, we can. So let's make sure we pick up. In fact, this down here, we've got a 9 here already, so that must be a 9. And there must be a 9 in one of those two squares. Okay, is that every... Have we got all the pencil marks? No, look, we can do 3s here, and this 3. This 3 is ruled out because of the knight's move constraints. That gives us a 3. Pencil mark some 3s at the bottom. Similarly down here, 3s are locked into one of those two squares. Fours in the centre. These two 4s, look at that, that's all you need to be able to write a 4 in the central square. Because this square can't be a 4, it's a knight's move from that one. That one can't be a 4 because it's a knight's move from that one. And these 4s now, look, that square can't be a 4 by the knight's move constraint. Oh, this is beautiful. Now these 4s. Often you find this in knight's move Sudoku, that sort of cells in the middle of an edge become very powerful, and you can see it works that way here. None of those squares can be a 4 by normal Sudoku, but the 4 rules out those two as well, so we actually get to place a 4 and a 4 at the bottom. And we've now we have done all the 4s once I put that one in, so we're done on 4s. Must be a 7 in one of those two squares. Okay, so what next? Oh, 2. This 2 is quite interesting. It rules a 2 out of all of those squares. So there's a 2 in one of those two positions, and that gives us another 2 in the grid. Okay. So is there anything else? Can't yet do anything with 1s there. There must be a 1 in one of these 3 squares. Sixes. 2s, look, these 2s interact on the middle box because this can't be a 2, so there must be a 2 in one of those, one of these two squares. Therefore there's a 2 in one of those two squares. Now immediately I notice we can't have a 2 here anymore, because if I try and put a 2 here, neither of these squares could be a 2. So the 2 must be in one of those two positions. One now, those can't be a 1, that can't be a 1, so there's a 1 in one of these two squares. I don't think that's going to be enough to get us another digit. Okay, so where shall we look next? I feel like I could do more with 3s. These 3. Yes, I can. Look. These 3 3s, and that square is ruled out by knight's move, so that must be a 3. Now there's a 3. Oh dear. Now there's a 3 in one of these two squares. Got 5 digits now in this column. 1, 5, 6 and 7 to place. That square has to be a 5. It's in the same box as a 1, it sees a 7 in the row, and it sees a 6 by knight's move, so that's a 5. This 6 now, look at that, the 6 in the column. Neither of those squares can be a 6, so that's a 6. So these two squares have got to be 1 and 7, and the 7 there sees that square. So that's a 1 and that's a 7. Stunning, isn't it? It's just stunning. Now there must be a 1 in one of these two positions. 9s look like they might be interesting. Oh, 9s are very interesting. We know from these two 9s, the 9s are locked into one of those three squares. This square and this square, look, remove 9s from those two positions. So that's a 9. Now these two squares must be a 2-9 pair. Makes those two squares a 1-8 pair. So now this square can't be a 2, because if it is, it would rule out a 2 from both of those positions. Let's just check this column. 2, 5, 6 and 8 to place. So this has to be a 5 or an 8. Now, what you have to get used to with Knight's Move puzzles is scanning weird places. You know, you have to look at these squares as well as the rows and the boxes and the columns. 2, 5, 6, 8. So this square has to be a 2 or a 6. 5's here and here. Oh yes, look at these 5's. Goodness. It's easy to miss that. This 5 sees those two squares because of the Knight's Move. So this square must be a 5. Looks a 5 up there, which means this square now cannot be a 5. Again, once you get two digits like this close to each other in a box, you should always be looking at that square there. That moves a 5 into one of these two positions. And again, we can sort of do the similar logic. Well, it didn't matter because there's a 5 here, but immediately we could have said there's no 5 in this square. There must be a 5 in one of these three squares. And this 5, I think, took the position of a 3. Yes, so this is a 3 now. Now that moves that down. That must be a 3. This square must be a 2 or a 6. This is a treat. It really is. I mean, this is a stunning puzzle. 3 here now. Okay. I think we've done the 3s. 6s are interesting now. Look, these 6s are interacting. This one can't be a 6 because of that 6. So the 6 is shifted downwards. That means now there's a 5, 6, 7 triple here, which means this square can't be a 2 anymore. The 2 must be in this square. In fact, let's delete these and label them differently. Let's label them like that. 7 sees that one. The 2 here, can we use it? Yes, there must be a 2 in one of these two squares. So we get a 2-9 pair. So we know this square is a 1 or an 8, and we know that square is a 1 or an 8, but I'm not sure we can tell which way round they go. This must be a 1-8 to complete the box. But 1's here and 1's here, so one of these three is a 1, and we have a 1 there as well. So we can lock the 1's into one of two positions. 6, 7, 2, 9, 2, 6. Okay, so what should we do now? 1, 5, 6, 8. 6, 8. Okay, 1 second while I stare at this and try and spot something. Must be a 7 in one of those two positions. I'm not sure that's going to help. What it does do, I guess, is it rules the 7 out from this square. Don't think it's quite enough to get us a digit though. Ah, now here's something lovely. Look at this 6. Look at the way this 6 works on the central block. It locks a 6 into one of those two squares. Now why is that important? Well, I cannot now put a 6 into this square because if I do, neither of these squares can be a 6. So this square must be a 2. That must be the 6. That puts the 6 up there. obviously this is now a 2 here. These two squares have got to be 5 and 8, and that's resolvable because of the 5 there. 5 and 8, that's a 5 now. Now this 8 must be powerful, surely. Yes, it is in combination with those 8s. Anyway, it locks an 8 into those two squares, which gives us another 1-8 pair. This square now must be 6 or 7, and look, the 6 is there. So I think this square can only be a 7. 5's ruled out, the 6 is ruled out, that must be a 7. So this square now... and this 6 in fact sees that square as well. So this must be the 7 on the left hand side, that must be the 5, this is the 6. That should make that one a 5. Doesn't look like it's clashing with anything. You can see that's going to give me a 5 here and a 2, which resolves my 2-9 at the bottom. That resolves the 2-9 in the middle. That forces the 9 into that square. These two are 7 and 8 in some order, and that 8's going to resolve that for us. So this one's the 7, this one's the 8, that's a 7 at the top. These squares have got to be 1, 6 and 8 now, so again we can do that. That's a 6, 8, 1, 1 over here. This square should be a 7, I think. It's just brilliant, isn't it? It really is. And look at these 1-8s all dotted around the grid now. Now these will get resolved because there will be there'll be an 8 like this, or this 1 that'll just poke and hit one. Yeah, that one. Look at that. That sees that one. So that's going to give us 8, 1, 1, 8, 1, 8. That forces that to be an 8. That's a 1 and that's a 6. These two squares are 5 and 6, so you can see we can do that. That must be in that order, and that should be an 8, and I think we're done. What a beautiful puzzle. Jonas, thank you very, very much for letting us showcase that. I think that certainly showcased your setting skills. Absolute masterpiece. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Do let me know in the comments, and do check out Chess Sudoku. Thanks for watching.